Customer Factor. I am, like many of you, I am a user, and many of our super users are helping us to get ahead, learn more, dive deep into some areas of Customer Factor and get better at it. We encourage you to ask your staff to join us. That way, if they're using a certain part of this piece of software, we're learning more, and maybe they can even lend in helping us to learn and go deep dive into an area of Customer Factor. So welcome. These will be recorded. These will be recorded and available. Stephanie will have them available. I'm not sure exactly where. She will share that with everybody. Today's topic is scheduling. And we have Chelsea, and we have Lisa, and we have Stephanie, who are all going to lend into it and talk to us about scheduling. I believe we're going to go ahead and start with Chelsea. So Chelsea, do you want to open up by telling us where you are and how long you've been using Customer Factor? And please dive right in.
Okay. So my name is Chelsea. I'm located in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I have been using Customer Factor for probably a little over 4 years. And I was kind of lucky because I came in when we really weren't using it very much. And so I've been able to kind of grow and move and see all the different changes. And there are still things that I am not doing. So I'm very excited even to be a part of this group. But just know that this is just like a tiny, tiny piece of this software. And it's a really cool thing to do.
Thank you.
I'm gonna grab my screen here. Okay, so can everybody see my screen okay?
It looks great.
Okay. So one of the first things you guys will notice, and I know everyone's in different spaces, but I have quite a few employees. So mine's kind of colorful and silly and crazy. Not everybody's will look this way. I find that if I use a larger screen, it's much easier for this particular view, but there is an option to collapse the menu on this side here that opens it just a little bit. One of the things Stephanie and I will be talking about today are the different types of views that you can use. So we have the option to view just your daily, you have the option to view, your full week, and then you have the option to view your month. And then in addition to that, you have options to display it like this, where you're kind of seeing it in a calendar type view. And then you're also looking at this list form, where you're seeing it sort of in this type of view that sets it up, again, as far as whatever is more conducive to what you like. I would suggest you play with it. I was just joking with Stephanie this morning. I've been using the old interface for a really long time. So this is actually, with scheduling in particular, I usually am using the old interface, so I'm really pushing to kind of move to the new. There are so many cool things on the new interface, but that's definitely one of the things that I utilize on a regular basis. So we're going to start with going from the big proposal, which is where we kind of ended the last meeting, to the schedule. So if we're on our home screen here, okay. We have estimates accepted right here. We have estimates accepted. You can look at it in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to pull mine right here with my estimates accepted. I have a bunch, but just pulled in mine basically. So this is what it would look like on yours if your person was like, yes, I accepted an estimate, I do want to schedule. And at that point, you would be able to pull that person up from this home screen here on that estimates tab. You can then go to that person right here. You can select their name. And there's actually 2 ways to do this. This was something Stephanie and I were chatting about also. So I'm going to show you both, and you can, again, I guess, decide what works best for you all. But one of the things I do with customer factor personally is I actually like to have multiple customer factors open, because I can toggle back and forth then when I do that. So I, for instance, would have the person's information up here, and then in my other one, I would then have my weekly calendar where I would then be able to see what I potentially have available. One of the reasons personally, I guess, that I like the weekly is that you can use this filter button for all kinds of things. So you can filter by associate, you can filter by the type of appointment. So there's lots of different ways. You can also filter by zip code if that was something that you're interested in. So when I'm looking to see if I have availability, and I'm going to actually go to Christmas Day because we honestly have no availability at all for like the next month. So I can't find anything open. But let's say I'm trying to schedule someone here and I am looking at my associates and I'm saying, I can look at multiples together. I can look at a few. I can select just one if I think, oh, this person is in Wisconsin. This is who does my Wisconsin people. I can pull up their schedule specifically. But if, for instance, I'm looking for a multiple that I have available, again, I can utilize it where I have 2 different spaces where I know, okay, I have a morning open for both this person and for this person. And then I would go back to my client profile, and then you would go up into this button here that says schedule job. I'm going to pick my date. So there is an option here to see the schedule. Again, this may be something I just am not good at, but the way this schedule pulls up to me is too hard to look at, and I don't know how to change, I guess, the view of this one. And so I don't utilize it this way. But there is, I mean, if you guys see that and you're like, why is she just not using that? That's why I can't read it appropriately.
And just to let you know, I did talk to Steve today in regards to that, and they are going to be putting the daily and weekly view on that. So
perfect. So here it will be an option for you eventually. You can do it right there, which is great. Otherwise, obviously, I'm going to say, okay, on the 25th, I've got these 2 particular associates that are available. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on my little calendar. I'm going to go to the 25th. I'm going to select the type of job that it is. So whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. A couple of different things, again, that you can do. There are time ranges and then also a duration. It will make you select both. So you can't just put in a time and not do a duration. It will not allow that. It'll tell you you're missing a field. So, you know, we start our jobs at 8, so 8 to noon, let's say, and I know I'm sending 2 people, so it's going to be an 8-hour duration. And then I'm going to assign it to the 2 people that I then had available. So once I have that first person assigned, if I do that same thing, I switch that first person, and I don't want to do that. So I would then go to this additional plus sign. And that's going to allow me to add an additional body to that schedule. You can utilize this screen for all kinds of things. You can change cost here if you want to. You can do that date range I use when people request off. So I also use this for my client or my associates when they're requesting off. I'll almost schedule them like an appointment. So it blocks off their space. But one of the things that I also utilize this for when we talk about scheduling is, let's say this is something that I want to have happen every 2 weeks. I say, okay, this is a recurring client. It's someone that I'm seeing on a regular basis. Once I schedule that first appointment, let's say I'm doing a biweekly appointment, I can go down to this point that says how often. So my option is recurring. So I go to schedule job as recurring, and that's going to give me all my stuff. And you think, oh my gosh, I got to do it all over again. You have this super awesome button that says copy all of the above information. So if I just click on that, it actually will fill everything in for me. So again, this is just my beginning date. Obviously all the same times, whatever, the same people, the same price, the same job selection. And then I go down to my recurring period, and I would say every other, because they selected biweekly. I could also pick I could do every 4, I mean, you can pick whatever it is that is, whatever works for your company. And then it will autofill whatever that particular first day was to be that day. There's an option to exclude months if you want to do that. And then basically you can go down here and hit schedule. You can also set it to end, which is kind of cool. That's one thing, if people we have a lot of snowbirds up here. So they go to the south in the winter, and they'll contact me in September and say, hey, I'd like to be cleans the beginning of September through, the end of December. And so I can just go in then and I can select when my end would be. And it will automatically discontinue their service after that amount of time. Or for instance, I don't use this one very often, but again, I can anticipate why it would be important, but you can do after however many occurrences. So I want you to come out, for 3 weeks on Monday for the next 3 weeks, and that's it. I mean, you could utilize it this way also. And then you would just hit schedule. And I guess I can do as well. Oh, see, I messed up my occurrences. Oh, never. There we go. Okay. And it says right up here, a series of recurring jobs have been scheduled. And then if I were to go back to my calendar view, you would then see my slot here. The color code have to do with the particular associate. So whoever is number 1 on the assigned to, that's going to be what the color of the assignment or what the, I guess, block is. So this particular Lynn, her color is dark blue. Okay, so one of the other options that we have to schedule is if you go into your home screen. Okay, and then you're going into your estimates accepted. So again, I'll go right into that person's file. And you can actually go right into this tab that says current estimates. So the current estimates right here is another way that you can schedule. So I would then go into current estimates. This is the estimate. You can then see that they selected and said, yep, I'm all set to go on that one. You've got the total, you've got all of this in here when they accepted it. So then you can go into here and hit schedule. And that'll pull you to basically the exact same thing, except for that it auto fills in the job and the amount. So again, for me, it's easy if I then have an additional space open, because that's then going to give me that opportunity to see what I would have available, or what days I would have anything available to then go back and schedule this particular person, where I would then do the exact same thing and utilize that calendar. I would select my time, I would select my duration, and then I would select my person, and I would go down and I would just schedule. Oh, sorry, schedule at the top here. Okay, I see Stephanie is away. So Stephanie, do you want more than that for just scheduling?
No, you did great.
Okay, so then the other part then is if we go back to our calendar views. So we talk about 3 separate views. We have a daily, a weekly, and a monthly. So again, today, week, month, they're here, they're over here. Either way is going to take you to the exact same place. So if we go to the today, you have an option. Again, if all of your people fit on one screen, you don't have this little toggle button, but if they do not, you do have this little orange button that then will pull all of your different people. When you're looking at it today, again, you can look at it in the employee crew display, where obviously it's going to give you your times on that left-hand side. It's going to show you your people on that top. And then when you have your appointment scheduled here, again, it's going to tell you the time that it starts, the time that it ends. And there's all kinds of things you can actually select to see. So you can select to see their first name, you can select to see their last name, you can see all of it. You can see the type of job. You don't have to see the type of job. There's all kinds of things that you can select that you want to see in that, I guess, drop down there. And then the other way is in this display mode. And that's going to show you, again, more of a block type version. That is, again, split up by color. As you're learning the color, obviously, if you roll across them, it's going to tell you right there who it's assigned to. Otherwise, we have the list option, and that's going to look a little differently on your today versus your week or your month. This today list version is going to give you everything about that particular client. So it's going to give you all of their information. It's going to give you all the general notes, how to get in, that type of thing. And it would also give you clock in information for your people if you're interested. Like if that's something that you're looking at, that'll tell you right here. You know, so I use this one when I'm checking clock in and clock outs to make sure I'm on time and that kind of thing. But otherwise, if I'm looking in this view on my week, it'll look more similar to this, where again, it's a block type view. It's going to give you each of the different jobs that they have in that 8 o'clock time frame. Then if you have kind of in between. And again, Stephanie, correct me if you're wrong, but from what I understand, you can also select it to have, it can show you anything. So it can show you in 30-minute increments. It can show you in the 15-minute increments. Again, you can do whatever is more conducive for how you do business and how often you're scheduling appointments. It has that opportunity to change that or alter it so that it matches what works best for you.
Yes, and I'm going to go through settings and setup at the end of this. And so Janice, I will answer your question that you just asked in that part of the training, just to let you know.
Sorry, I'm not looking at questions, so if
It's
I'm
okay.
missing things,
I've been following them.
thank you. Okay, I mean, I don't think there's anything else specifically for me that I'm looking for. If you're in your scheduling thing, and you want to cancel the appointment, you have that opportunity to, you can either cancel up through here. You can delete it down here. I can
What's the
change
difference
time.
between cancel and delete? I think that's a very important.
Yeah, you want me to talk about the difference? Well, again, I think it depends on what settings you have. Cancel to me leaves it on the computer, on the actual screen. So it'll give a reason. So for instance, some way I use it is, if I have a client that continues to cancel, and I want to know why. It's sick kids every single time? Like what, where are we missing here? Where's the disconnect? Do we need to figure out how to get them more reminders or whatever that looks like, right? Versus like, I'm not going to charge somebody a missed appointment fee if they have COVID and they call me and say, you can't come in because I want your people to be safe. Like I'm not going to charge you for that. So if I go in here, I have not only when I don't cancel, I've got an option to put a reason. So I can put in a reason as far as what that is. And then my default is to not remove it from the calendar. So if I hit update, then basically it shows on my calendar as, instead of a color, it shows as a gray. So I can also then see, for instance, like the rest of my week, like who's canceled, or we call them skips. We don't call them cancels, we call them skips. So who skips for this particular week for these days. And then if I click in them, oops, that's the wrong one. If I click in them, I can actually see why they skipped them if they wanted, versus if I go in there and delete it, it just goes away. It's just gone. There's no record at that point of it. I can't get back in it and try to move it or drag it. One of the other things I like about utilizing the cancel instead of the delete is that I can potentially still drag and drop this anywhere I want, and then get in there and go to this reschedule button. So I can just utilize this exact same one instead of saying, okay, they canceled, they're a biweekly client, but they actually, instead of on this Friday, they just want to be scheduled on Wednesday. So instead of canceling it on this end and then going back into the client's thing and having to just schedule a singular appointment, I can actually just drag and drop this guy, and or I can take my reschedule button up here and switch the date to whatever day it was that I wanted to reschedule the appointment.
And also on the canceled, it does show the canceled. So what we use the cancel for is when a client skips that cleaning. A delete is when it's an office error. And a skip, we want to keep history of that. And it also shows that in the job history so that you have that notes as well. So as far as residential, having that history of that skip is huge. So you don't want to really delete it. And deleting it is gone forever.
Yeah, we don't use that one very often. I really use cancel more than anything, for sure. Okay. Is there anything else with that part of it? Again, you have opportunity here to start or end at any time you all want. There's lots of different settings up there that you can see, which I think maybe Stephanie will talk about.
Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Catherine.
Hello. So I am wondering, do your clients, like I'm just looking at this client that's Monday, December 18th, 8 to 2, Reagan is the last name. Do your clients see that 8 to 2 time frame?
In the auto-populated emails, They do. It will say in the auto-populated emails that time. Yes, I guess Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a way to not have that happen?
Yeah, so you can take the auto format out of the text messages and emails so that they don't see it. And that's what I do because I don't want them to have a locked in time.
Right, like I want them to see what time they're going to arrive in a window, but I don't want them to know what time we're estimating them to end. But it's really nice to be able to see on the screen what we've blocked off for them. So if there's a way to do that, I would be really happy to know.
Yes, me too.
There
How do
is,
we do that?
when you go in and formulate it, there's all kinds of in the drop downs, it has a start time. And when
Yes.
you're formulating your text and your emails, and I don't know it right
Oh.
off the top of my head, but yes, because we do the same thing. We don't want them to know the full time we've blocked, but we can say like, hey, we'll be arriving at 8:30.
So not the duration, just the start time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you do that?
That'll probably have to, I can do a Zoom on that, or a Loom on that. Thank you, TJ.
Yeah, I never know the name of those percentage name of whatever. Thank
Yeah.
you, TJ.
Yeah, because that's one of my issues. Because if I put a block, they think I'm coming close to the time. Like if I have like 8 to 12, I was like, I'm gonna wait for you until 12. Da, 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 da. And if I put, 1 hour arrival, it's like the employees get confused. Is this job is 1 hour? So I take it that.
So
Go, TJ.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for us on our scheduling, the start time is always our ideal start time. We want our cleaning text to arrive. In the email, like I said there, we put an arrival of half hour. So it tells them, like say a 9 o'clock arrival on our calendar for our crew. It'll tell the client that we're going to arrive there anywhere from 9 to 9:30. I also put a note in ours that says, depending on the day, we may be arriving 30 minutes before or after that time. So we give about an hour and a half window. And which to me is really great because that's better than UPS. So
I agree. And we always tell people better than the, refrigerator delivery
Hmm.
person or whatever that looks like. I pulled over an email, just like something that we have. And so it's just a quick reminder. It shows the date and says, and so like this particular appointment is scheduled at 1:30. And we can set it again the same way, 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. And one of the things that we let our sparklers or our cleaners know is that is their expectation, is that if they are not going to be there between 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after, that they need to let us know so that we can then let the clients know. And our same thing here is kind of an expectation of like a text. So we do a text that again is super easy peasy between the 1 and 2 o'clock. So you don't have to have the out time on there at all.
Awesome,
that-
thank you.
And we will go over how to build these emails in our marketing campaign. And that I believe is scheduled for our next talk. So
I have a question.
Yep.
But I thought when you put the block time on the schedule, like say 8 to 12, that's what the automation take to send to the client.
So you have to do the percentage, the actual coding for customer factor in there. And
Okay.
again, that's something that we will show you how to do in that marketing campaign. It's a little bit more detailed into how to build those emails.
Okay.
So that'll be in 4 weeks on January 11th.
Okay.
So, and if you need it before then, holler at me and I will do a loom.
versus
Okay.
this is another one. So this is one that we have for one of their first cleans. And this is one that we actually do have an out time. Excuse me. Because we for our first cleans in particular, we actually charge them differently for how long it takes. Because everybody varies so differently. So we estimate about this amount of time. And then if we are over that time, we will call them. But for our first cleaning in particular, we are very, I guess, open. And again, this is our email, because then they get another one about their, 2 to 3 days prior, basically. But that's another way you can do it. So I know you had asked, Catherine, if you had to have it that way. You absolutely can if that's something you want. But you also can have it where it looks like this and is not that at all.
Yeah, unless I'm wrong, it's because when you schedule, you put a time range, so it will show there. But I never put this time range. I just put a duration, and on my calendar it shows. For me, it shows from 8 to 12, for example. But on the email, it just says we will arrive at 1 or whatnot.
Yeah, I think like Stephanie said, you can customize it however you want, whether you're doing it in the marketing on the back end or you're doing it that way.
But you're
so-
saying that he's saying that you don't put the time range, rather you put 9 a.m. and then 3 duration hours and it still shows 9 to 12 on the calendar?
Exactly.
Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to know how to do that.
When you schedule at first she showed you. I don't know if you can go back to schedule an appointment.
Yeah, yep, sure.
Well, that
It's
part I
just-
know how
you
to do
just-
it on. Yeah, okay, I'll follow you.
Yeah, let's look at it. No worries. So again, let's say we're going to this particular person again. I'm going down to schedule my job. I'm picking my date. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, guys. I go to pick my date. I say Christmas. And then he's saying here if he just does like 3 hours.
Uncheck time range,
Right.
and then you'll just select the time that
That's
they will arrive.
Wherever you want to start.
Yes.
So
So
this
let's
is
say we
how
wanna
I
start
set it
here.
up.
Okay.
We do this and it does not show up it just shows up at 9 a.m. But it doesn't, on the calendar view, it doesn't stretch to 12.
So let's
That
look.
is in my settings part that I am going to be
Okay.
over in just a second.
Cool.
I know
All right.
this is a question that everybody has.
All right, we'll leave you alone then.
Yeah. So it just doesn't have that part here. And I guess, are you thinking in like the today view?
Yeah, so it won't block out. If you look at the employee view.
Oh, I'm looking on the wrong day here.
Huh.
Well, there it did it. Is this what you're talking about, that it doesn't show?
Yeah, mine
It
does not
doesn't
do
show it
that.
up here, but it does block.
Yeah, mine doesn't either. So if it is a settings thing, we'll just wait
It's-
for Stephanie. Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
separate
cool.
thing.
So will the
Kelsey, could I
duration
ask you
block
one
it?
more question?
Of course.
Could you show us on the screen that had everybody where you have 2 people assigned to the same job, how that looks?
Sure.
Man, how could you read those things?
I filter a lot, to be perfectly honest. So I use my filter option and I'm looking here. So my fastest way probably to do it, because I have very few, oh man, I have few appointments that actually are, doubled. I mean, my deep cleans are my only ones. So again, this is the holiday. So here is one right here. So this is what it looks like. And I have 3 people actually on this one. So Allie, my first one, she's orange. So it's orange because she's my first one. And technically the way I do it is that if my first one, that's actually the lead of the clean. And they're, you know,
Perfect.
they're my deep clean lead or whatever. And so they have expectations knowing that it's their color. I don't even have to say who's the lead. They know if it's their color, they're the lead.
And you
And
can
so the way I
maybe-
schedule it is I put her name first. And then when I enter in the schedule, when I go here and I'm entering in my names, I'm gonna, like, for instance, if I wanted Sherry to be the lead, she would be number 1. Then I would go to here. My second person would be number 2. Then I would go here. This person would be number 3. However you wanted to do it. And that's the order that they would do it in on the schedule.
Do your techs see each other's schedules? Can they see
Yes.
everybody's schedule?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. They can see if they're working with somebody else.
Okay.
They cannot see everyone's schedule. And again, that's something you can select when you set them up in Customer Factor. There's a lot of stuff I don't let them see, customer pricing, like all kinds of stuff. They don't
Yeah.
see jobs that are assigned to nobody, you know, things like that. But they do absolutely see who they're working with if they are assigned with someone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
And Chelsea, can you also show the daily view on that one that you just,
Sure.
so you did weekly, can you show daily view?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what day it was that was.
See, I'm on the, I think it's, nope. Yep. Okay. Well, here. So here's a good option. Here is, I have, again, you'll see the same person here. This isn't great because I don't have everybody on one screen, but then you can see my third person on that other screen, which isn't amazing, but versus here they're both on the same screen. And again, I'm filtering that out by the way I have assigned my clients. So when they're doing their first time cleans, I have them in an unassigned category so that they don't fall off the planet, basically. And that I pull that report every week and call those and get them into one of my other categories, whether they're, you know, one time they don't want to do recurring, or then I put them in, so my one times, or I put them in, you know, my recurring categories that I have.
Everybody needs help with reports.
That's a whole nother ball game.
All right. Lisa, do you want to go ahead and do tasks?
absolutely.
Oh, Hugo, do you have a question?
No, that was to answer about the time range. Yeah, I lowered my hand. Thank you.
What?
I lowered the hand.
Thank you.
Lower the hand. All right, can everybody see my screen? Okay, so I'm going to start actually in my monthly calendar. So you're going to see that actually mine looks very different than Chelsea's, which again, it's just the different settings. And we use tasks. So a big question for us was, how do you tell what openings you have on a regular basis? And so what I did was come up with a way that all of our tasks are the hot pink color, and they have different meanings. We know, like a task here, you're seeing like there's a trainee. And so we know we have a trainee that day with Angel. So we can see like who's training that day. But if we want to see like open jobs, which I'm going to kind of go a little bit in the future here. And we want to go ahead and schedule a deep clean. I can actually look and say, okay, I have an opening here from 11:15 to 4 p.m. I have a 2-hour opening here. I have another afternoon opening, and we actually put them in according to the time ranges. And as you see, I'm hovering it over it. If we have an opening we need to fill, that opening is actually a 3 3/4 hour opening for a monthly clean only. So it's all how we label it when we actually put it into the task or put it into the system as a task. So we can actually go down and see how many openings we'll actually have in a day and how many do we have enough room for a 10-hour deep clean, a 15-hour deep clean, how many people, that type of a thing. So that's how we look at to see how many job openings we actually have. And actually for this, because it's New Year's Day, we will actually take and start being like, oh, okay, so we have this, we can move it to this open job. We have this, this person, we can start moving them. So it's really helpful, especially when you're planning a holiday week, like where are your openings that week to shift and move people into those open jobs. I'm just going to ask if anybody has any questions, because it's just a different concept. I don't know if anybody else does that.
So can you make different tasks different colors? And I don't.
You cannot. Unfortunately, the tasks, we see how we make them all pink, but I don't know of a way to make tasks different colors. We do use tasks for different things, but that's why we label it. So I'm going to actually go in, show you how to do a task. Okay. So you can just go to the quick add, create a task, and you'll see right here from my drop downs, like it saves your data. So we'll put like open job biweekly, and then my schedule actually put in there, like if it's an open job biweekly, she'll add in 3 hours or 4 hours based upon what that cleaner's schedule is. And I'm actually going to schedule a few of these with you guys so you can actually see how you go in and schedule things.
I think you open a new window, but we can't see it because you're just sharing that one window.
Oh, sorry. I am not technologically advanced on certain things. Can you see it now?
There, yep.
Okay. So I went under quick add. Oh, quick add. And you hit create the task. When you hit my title, can you see the different drop downs?
Yep.
So when my scheduler goes in, it's already like pre-selected to put open job like biweekly, and then she'll add in like it's a biweekly for 3 hours, a biweekly for 3.25 hours. So that's what's nice is then once we schedule that, like she can quickly look at the big view of the month or the week and look for the pink that says open job. Okay, oh, nope, I have a 4-hour monthly, but I only have a 2-hour open job. So let me go back to the other screen. You guys are going to make me all very technologically proud today. Okay.
I'm already proud of you.
I know. Okay. Are we back to my main screen here?
Yes, you are.
So see how you have that open job? The scheduler can literally just go into the open job, open that back up, or open that up. She knows it's okay. I have a 2-hour clean. It's on Monday from 2 to 4. She'll go and schedule it, deletes the open job, fills the cleaner schedule. So that's how we've formulated how to learn where all of our holes in. So we are like maximizing everybody's schedule. And I will say this, so even here again, it's New Year's Day, but this is a deep clean team right here. So it's Angela, Angel, and Ashley all have this opening. My scheduler knows that is a deep clean team waiting for that job because we always schedule our deep cleans on Mondays and Tuesdays. So that is laid in every week. It's the scheduler's responsibility to add in a deep clean. And it's, I think, 10 to 11 hours of a deep clean. So is there any questions on that?
Interested.
What?
sorry?
That's a new way.
Yeah, that's
That's
genius.
just the way we figured it out because we got frustrated trying to look at this big schedule. I mean, you look at it, I'm going to pull up a weekly. So, we have 25 cleaners. And so sometimes it was just really hard to keep going through like how many cleaners are flipping through screens. We wanted something to have to where what can we quickly look at and see where our openings are at. So this is what we came up with that helps us schedule quickly. So
How
so
do
the
you
go
how do
ahead.
you do time off for employees? Because I use tasks for time off for employees.
So here
That's me too.
So here it is, it'll say like off full time. So it's actually a job. That's a job title, like a client name is off full.
Okay.
So that we use because we do have some part-timers in the equation. So you see how there's the off fulls, they'll all fall into here.
Are your orange colors your commercial jobs?
They are.
How do you know who is off? Just by looking at
Just
that.
by looking.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Just kind of scroll over it to see who it is.
yeah, and I will say this, like the majority of these people, like I have 2 girls that are literally only work 1 day a week. They're long timers, they've been with me for years. So the majority of them are these people. And then we know who's off on Fridays. I actually have some people who rotate some Fridays.
Okay.
So those are very, very standard offs because I know this week this is a blackout week for us. So the schedule just kind of knows those, but they're still registered in the computer. But if I were to go in and filter, let me pick one of them. See, it's showing her off. And that's just the house she cleans every week. So, but we just don't have it categorized differently. So if someone actually has a day off, the scheduler just puts it in and marks it. I don't schedule a lot. I do have a scheduler that does schedule a lot. So I don't know if that's helpful. I can show you, let me go back to the full screen too. I'm going to go back to the month. And I'm going to filter to Angela. Can you still see everything that I'm doing?
Yes.
I'm not. Okay. So I'm going to go back to Angela, who actually does quite a bit for us. So here you'll see she has an open job because I'm looking at her monthly schedule. So she's pretty packed full. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to filter out Debbie because I had Debbie in here. Sorry, hit a wrong button. So we also, any of our meetings with our staff. So this meeting right here is actually a leadership meeting. And so what I love about the task is it comes on their schedule. So anytime they have a review, any meeting that they're required to be at, that task is showing up on their schedule. So people don't have to remember or look someplace else, which our cleaners really love because they're like, oh yeah, like it just shows up in pink when they're looking at customer factor. It'll literally show up at 8:30 in the morning. She's got her diamonds meeting and then she's got her 3 cleans right after that. So they like it because it's all in one spot.
So Lisa, does that mean that they can all see who has openings?
No, my staff only sees their individual schedules.
Okay, so
And
if they're assigned to that meeting, obviously they can see it. They can't see all the tasks. Okay, I get it.
Correct. So yes, so the only time they actually see, similar to what Chelsea was saying, is if they are on a deep clean. then it's opening up and showing that these 3 people are scheduled on the deep clean, so they know who their partners and people are for the day. So, so I'm going to actually filter and go to all again. And I'm just going to go to tasks. I'm actually, sorry. I'm going to take you, this was one of the cool things that we liked. We do our staff's laundry, and I actually have people help do that. And especially now with the holidays coming up, they have some weird days and days off. So we can actually see like who's on laundry, because everybody's going to pop up laundry right here. We can hover over. So say like Becca calls off this day. My husband, because that's the person who's in the earliest, he knows like, okay, I've got to slack another laundry person or someone to pull in to do laundry. But we can actually look at the schedule and make sure, okay, everybody's scheduled and laundry's being taken care of for that day. But you can also like take, for instance, if you have a newer employee, I'm going to go to Sarah, take off these others. And what we will do is Sarah's new, we will give her a base schedule, which she is actually, my schedule hasn't done this, but you can go in and say she's coming out of training, and they'll start adding an open job. So out of training, we give them test houses, and then they have a few houses on their own. Sarah's schedule isn't loaded, but I wish it was, because you would see like open job, open job, open job quite frequently on her schedule. Let me see if I can find someone else. Does that make sense? Does you guys have any questions on like how we're using it?
That one is confusing.
I like it.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm in here trying to add an open job. That is a brilliant idea. Oh my gosh. I've been trying to figure out something like that. But it's not letting me put it. I put it in the title, but I can't, like you had a drop down of different ones. It's not letting me do that.
So those, that's probably because that's my drop downs. So I'm gonna try and do this. Let me see if I can. I want to show you guys like how I schedule them, because there is some things that will make your life easier. So I'm going to do a quick ad, but then share that screen and show you how I do that. You guys are just going to all have to tell me if when my screen share comes up, right? Okay, can you see how I'm creating a task? Is that screen up?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so great. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new task, and it's a trainers meeting. Okay. And I am going to assign it to Angela. You can assign it to multiple people. Angel. Don't ask me why we have this mojo in my office where all my trainers have A names. So I'm going to assign that to him. You can actually even put something in the description and put some notes in it. I can start the date of next Wednesday at from 7:30 to 8 a.m. And then it says, does this task repeat? And I can put yes, beginning with the date. And then I can come down here and select every Tuesday. And when do you want it to end? Never. So that will go in and create a task for all 3 of those people all at once. So
Perfect.
you were asking about, see now how my, the drop down again, the trainers meeting's coming up. So it's giving you that kind of like, it's saving your information and all the common ones that you're going to be doing, like we do laundry, open job biweekly. Like if somebody's doing our supply desk, open job monthly, cleaner review. So those are ones we use quite often. So you don't have to constantly put that into the system.
Okay. Well,
Does
thank
that make-
you.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Two
that's why I want to
questions,
keep
Lisa.
asking, questions, because it's not something that everybody typically does with tasks. So please feel free to ask questions. Go ahead, who have a question.
So when you, for instance, have the tasks and it's a meeting, can
Yes.
they clock in at that point from the task?
They clock in on the master clock, not so on a
Okay.
client, they're clocking into the job. We call
Okay.
it the master clock.
Okay.
So they clock in on the yes.
Okay,
And
but not from the
so-
task.
Yeah, not from the task.
Okay, and then my second question was if you and I apologize, I had to walk away for a second, but if you did this in the beginning, I'm sorry. If you have the title as open appointment and like for instance it's bi-weekly or whatever, and you schedule then a bi-weekly appointment, does the
Yes.
task go away or do you have to then manually delete the task?
You do have to manually delete the task because it's
Okay.
not, but I will say this, and that's sometimes like you kind of see how sometimes how efficient people are, because my husband does some scheduling too. And I'm going to go back here for a second and see if I can't just go back to my other screen. I'm going to think of who we just did. I think I just saw it on someone's schedule. Coach Dana. So when we will kind of just as a double check, let me see if she's got an open job. So here, this one, here's what's nice too. I don't know how you guys, we have some 2-hour openings and open job, and we'll get 2-hour clients. We'll take 2-hour client and fill her right in. So are you seeing a schedule board just to make sure?
Yep.
So, but you will sometimes too, you're double checking your open jobs and be like, okay, let's not double book that. She actually doesn't have any. We do keep an eye on that. Let me see if I can find someone else. Because next week, our scheduler does go in and work like a week in advance and 2 weeks in advance and double check everybody. And then, because we're filtering in, obviously, because we have Christmas and New Year's schedules. So no, she's accurate.
Lisa, I have a question. Why would you, when you have a trainers meeting or any kind of meeting, why wouldn't you just call that a job instead of a task?
We don't color code our jobs, so we wanted it to stand out. So we just, honestly, we just put it in as a task, and it comes up in a different color, and it reminded them. We never had anything before this, so they just have to remember, like, what day are you on laundry, or what day is your trainers meetings, which it's every Tuesday, so it's not.
Well, I guess because when we have a meeting, we put it in as a job, and then they do clock in on the, for the meeting on the job.
Okay.
And then, I mean, we don't use this task idea, but I do like that. But it seems to me if you put your meetings or other things like that as jobs that they're actually having to attend or whatever, that it might not clutter up your opening, your tasks that are openings. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way too. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I love about this group is you get different ideas, and I kind of like that better because they're clocking in and out of that job. As far as a meeting is concerned, my trainers meetings are not on there. That was the one I was going to show you of, but some of the other ones are because they're one-offs, and it does help them. Like, I think it's just a visual thing at this point for my staff so that they know, like, oh, hey, today is my laundry day because it's pink. Because it's not something they're doing on a regular basis. It's a
Right.
scheduled one-off. So, and that's something every day. So maybe I think it depends on, maybe like you're saying, Marlo, maybe if it's a regular meeting, it might be better off that they're a client and there's multiple people scheduled on for that meeting. The open job, as far as to look at holes, that's really what we designed it for. And then we kind of went back in and added things as tasks. We try not to, like you said, make it too cluttery.
I really like this idea of the open job task. So I love that. Is there any other people that use tasks for different ways? So we use tasks for employees' time offs, that kind of thing. Does anybody else use tasks any other way? Lisa, you can stop sharing if you're done.
Yeah, unless anybody else had questions, I just wasn't sure.
I have another question.
Go for it.
So when the cleaners come, they come in on Mondays and then they come in on Fridays. So I have made it a job for them to clock into when they're here in the office, loading up their bags or leaving their stuff. Is there another way that anybody else is doing that so I can keep track of their time? But it is taking a lot of my schedule room.
I would almost say kind of like what Marlo maybe suggested is make the job like, I don't know, like pick up and drop off or pick up and return, and everybody gets scheduled. Like,
Yeah, we use
in the
it.
morning.
We have basically a person that's called team meeting, or a client that's called team meeting. And so it would only technically take up one slot.
Mhm.
So,
And they can clock in and out on that. So they would be able to clock just like they would a normal job.
okay. All right. That's how I have it. I didn't know if anybody had
Yeah.
better ways. Thank you.
To answer your question about are you using task for anything else, one of the things that we do, if we need our field managers to go do an inspection on at a client's house, we'll put that on our schedule as a task. But so the field managers, they do have access to seeing those tasks where regular technicians don't. So they don't know that we're coming. And then when they get there, they can also assign themselves to that job so that they can clock in and out on that job when they get there for the inspection. So quality check, inspection, that type of thing.
We do that as well.
And you
And
can
we
do that.
also do add it occasionally to the job, and we have a quality check if I want the employee to know that we're coming to quality check them. But then I don't want them to know. We do it the task way. Good add-ons. All right. Any others before I go into settings? I guess we probably should have done settings first, but oh well. All right. Let me get my screen shared. Okay. So different settings. So the first setting is, which I think everybody has been asking and wanting to know. So we do everything on job ticket hours or budgeted time. So when you go into a job, is it going to pull up? Come on. It's not gonna pull up for me. There we go. So when we come into a reoccurring job, we only have to put the time that we're going to be there the very first, and then we put how long this job is going to be at. So we put in the budgeted time, and then on the actual calendar, it blocks out that time. So the settings that you have to do, it is in my account and general setup. And then you're going to go to miscellaneous. And one of the things that I talked to Steve today, and he's like, please make sure that everybody has their time zones correct. So I'm saying, please make sure everybody has their time zones correct, because that's what he told me to tell you guys. So you would come down here, let's see, it's under duration block. So this duration block, use duration to block time. You'll need to select this right here to make that happen. And so that will block out this time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I use the daily view a lot. Because I can easily look to see who I have openings for, but now I've got great ideas to be able to look at it differently. But here on the gear, you have options of being able to do different things. So let me go to the weekly, because that has more options on the gear. So you can tell your options on how you want to display. So as you guys can see, I have different displays here. Like I have my budgeted time. I have my my location. So we map by zones. So I want to know what zone we're in. And then I have also my biweekly, or what services is being done. And you can have that show, and you can see those different things. So that is under appointment display. So, and you have a whole bunch of different options that you can display here, but you can only display 5 items. So you have to be kind of a little picky on what ways you want to display them. So
I just noticed that when I was messing around with it.
yeah.
And you can't have first and last name, even though it's on the same line.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. So you get to be a little picky on what you get to choose, but you get some information here. So this really helps us a lot, especially because we use subdivisions. That is one of the things that my office people have to put in there is, so we have our zoning map. So then I can sort to try to get as close as possible when we are trying to schedule. So I want to know what subdivision or what zone they are in. And then, so I have all these different things. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy. Of course they're going to. So that is a really great thing. So color preferences, you can have it to where, so I have all of my employees as different colors. So we tape their totes in the same color as their color here. So if a bottle gets lost, then we'll be like, hey, what kind of tape is on that bottle? We know who that goes to.
What if I don't have an option that says color preferences? Are you sure you're just not extra special?
I am now. In your weekly view?
Yeah, everything else is the same. I just don't have an option that says color preferences.
I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
Color preferences are usually into the filters.
Yeah.
So you can do the filters as well, and by assignment,
okay,
change your colors right here. That's how you would change each employee's color. So this employee is a purple, so we go in here and change that. So that's how you would change each employee is under the filter and their name. Time slots, you can change it to where If you want it to be super detailed, I don't, because we're dealing with hours. I don't want it to be super long. So I try to do it in 30 minutes, but you can have it in 15 minutes if you have shorter appointments. So for power washing, that might be a good option to have it in 15 minutes. This one right here, the appointment rescheduling. So drag and drop, you have to have this enabled. You can't, so if it's disabled, then you can't drag and drop. So making sure that setting, if you want to have that option on there, that setting has to be enabled. Also, if you have this one enabled, I highly recommend that you have the drag and drop validation enabled as well, so that when you do drag and drop it, because I'm sorry, it's super easy to drag it and then like, what if that wasn't supposed to go there? Wasn't supposed to be moved. So this pops up and says, do you truly want to move it? If you have that disabled, then it's going to automatically move it, and you could have not meant to do that. So I highly recommend having that enabled as well.
Stephanie, I think I know the answer, but do you know if we change those settings, if it's for all the users, like my admin?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay. But because for my account and my settings, I know that is for everyone, but for this part, I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you.
Now I do know that the what you see the display, that is individual. So it might be individual, but I'm pretty sure most of them are display. Number of jobs, if you want to show your numbers over here, then that's this one. Does anybody use AM display? Because I don't exactly know what this is. Oh, Sunday display.
Yeah, I'm not using. I think it's because for some people the if you go on a daily, the time drags. If you put it at 15 minutes interval, for example, you won't see the whole day.
Okay, that makes sense. The Sunday display is, I like to see the Sunday over here. So I used to schedule all of my monthlies on Sundays, and then I would drag and drop them throughout the week. Now my office people do it, and I don't know, they have a system. So, but that's how we used to do it. So that's kind of the reason I like the Sunday view, but you could have it to where it's a Monday view here. Obviously, if you want to have holidays, US holidays. Oh, that's new. Gonna set a color.
Yeah, we hear that often. That's new.
That's new.
When did that get there?
So birthdays, obviously, I want to celebrate my employees and make sure that I know about it. So we do have that on there. Our employees are what make our money, so we want to make them happy. Split duration. So we have it so we're solo cleaners. So if they do go and help and it's 2 people on the team, then it splits the duration and does the payroll that way. So that is enabled there. Split multi-days. Again, it's pretty much for the payroll side of it. So if you guys have any questions in regards to this. No. Also, another way to add a job is just a quick add. So you're on the calendar and you see an opening, you can just click it and it comes up. So you can search and just go ahead and it'll autofill it, and you can go ahead and book it from here. So it's another way when you're looking at your calendar, you could go ahead and add them. So different scheduling views and ways to do it.
Stephanie, I have a question back on that duration piece. When I have that selected like you do, but when I export my employee report for payroll every week. It does split the time, but it never splits the amount. And this might be a payroll session later, but if you know how to make that happen, that would be great.
So are they clocking in the exact same time together or not?
No, they are not.
Okay. And I'm assuming that everything in the payroll section, like it is all matching up with the user and everything there is working correctly.
Yeah, it will show me what they actually did clock in and out. So I can use that, but I always have to go through and check my payroll and make sure that the charge for that job gets cut in half so that their commission is correct.
Right.
So
we always have to check our doubles as well, but
okay.
But it does split it on ours. So is that selected on your?
It is. Maybe I'll look at it. Maybe it's or we can talk about it when we do a payroll session.
Yeah. We'll definitely be doing one of those.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's not imperative.
Okay. Yes. Do you have a question, Indra? Yeah.
Yes. Question. I saw on your calendar. It was a button to optimize the schedule. Is that what it said? I don't remember what it said now. How do you do that? I've tried to make that happen for me, and I don't know where to do that.
So that would be. Do you have the mapping feature enabled on your customer factor?
Maybe I don't. Where do I do that?
So you have to. So there's a few things that you have to ask Steve to have access to, and it is the mapping feature and also the online booking feature. So you just email Steve at Customer Factor and ask for those two things, and he'll get you those options available.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So mapping and online booking, you have to ask for.
Okay.
I don't know how to use that. So if anybody knows how to use that, I have the feature, but I'm old school, so we don't use it. Hate to say. I'm sure it's awesome. I just don't use it.
Yeah, that's something I was hoping to learn about here. So
and so just to let everybody know about, so Steve will be with us in 2 weeks. So on December 28th, we will have Steve here on our Zoom. I will have a ask questions link in our Facebook group so that we can have some questions kind of asked, but we will have him for an hour and a half to ask any question that we want. So December 28th at 2:00. So 2 weeks from today. So we can have him teach us this next week, which would be in 2 weeks. That would probably be awesome because I don't know anything about it. So
I have a quick question. Like when you do the scheduling and you put the duration and then you put for the range, you just put one time.
Yes.
So when client get their automation email, do they just get like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock?
That is part of that marketing. You can choose what you want it to say. So you can tell it to say, I want 9 o'clock, or I want it to be 30-minute window, or you want it to be whatever. So in that marketing, in that email section, you can choose what you want it to say.
How do you word it? Because I had it as a range, like will arrive between like 9 and 10, something like that.
So that's, and we're already kind of going over on time, and that is what we will plan on doing on the 11th, January 11th is our marketing schedule. And I want to ask anybody, does anybody want to help with that? TJ.
So maybe who's really good at reminder emails and setting up reminder emails or setting up automated reminders and text messages. Maybe if we narrow that a little bit, that might be helpful. But TJ, I still think you're in the running.
I think
I
you would be
can
great.
show what I have.
So
Marlo, do you or someone else in your office, are you guys really good at that? You're on mute though.
I was just asking Alicia across the across the way, not particularly. I was actually going to post what in the chat, what we put on our email as far as right now it says it does give the range of the time that they're going to be there, which because we didn't realize that you didn't have to have that. So we're all going to change that. But I'm going to just post their how we word so they know that we can be an hour early or an hour late. So it'll give the, you know, hey, we're going to be there between 11:30 or at 11:30 and what we're doing. And then please note that your technician could arrive up to an hour prior to or after the above time, never before 8 a.m. And we just put that in the email that goes out the day before.
I'm happy to be a part of that group. I'm not an expert, but I have used it a lot and learned something even today. So I'm happy to be a part of that group.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
same thing. I use a different software right now, but I used to use the customer factor for that, so I can help.
Okay.
And I will say that we all learn little golden nuggets, even, you know, you may not be the expert. None of us are experts. I don't feel like I'm an expert, but you learn little golden nuggets to make your life easier, even if it's you're just, you know, again, like looking at it from, I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I went and looked at home screen or some of the settings, but it was a great reminder today that the system does a lot. It's just you have to remember to tell the system what you want it to do. So,
Right.
so everybody can help everybody here. You don't have to be an expert. We'll make you an expert.
In that one area, right?
Yeah, in that one area.
So the people that, so Catherine, TJ, and Hugo, we have a call the Monday before to kind of go over this stuff. So I will send you guys a link for that so that we can kind of be ready for this meeting. And then, so just a reminder, do you guys have any more questions? But a reminder, so in 2 weeks, December 28th, we will have Steve and I will have a posting in our Facebook group for the questions. So we will have Ask Anything with Steve. And then January 11th, we will do our marketing call. So any other questions?
We have a lot, but not for today.
I know. Each category, it'll be fun as we learn.
When will we be doing reports?
We can do that the 2 weeks after. Whew, that's a big one. That one might need a few, but hopefully we can get it all.
I feel like several of them can use a few. Like marketing is a pretty big one, whether it's reminder emails or you using the marketing emails that are on timers, the emails that you can have pre-selected in your for your customers. There's a lot of marketing in it. And I think there's a lot of reports too. So I'm wondering are we able to maybe to put like in the Facebook group, like what topics on marketing would you like to hear? And maybe we could drill that down so we're giving people the information they're looking for, or even if, I mean, if it's one person shows them one way of doing, you know, I don't know. It was just a thought because those are big topics. You're not going to get through.
They're big topics. Yep.
Yeah, you're not going to get through everything all at once.
Yep. I could definitely do a poll. And
That's
see.
what I was looking for. That's the magic word.
So, and does everybody know how to find the recordings? So the recordings are going to be in each event. So I will post the recording. Give me a couple days because I do want to make sure that I'm going in and making sure that no personal information is out there. So I want to make sure that we're blocking out important stuff. So it'll probably be Monday before the reposting will happen. Because I run a business too, so I can't just stop. So but it'll be in each event so that we're trying to stay organized in those topics. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you all.
Thank you so very
Thank
much,
you.
everyone. And
Thank
I will
you.
see
Thank
you.
you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
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 See you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.